Well, good morning. Welcome to the UptaCraft shop. This morning we're going to actually make some progress on a part 2 video. It's long overdue. And this is actually a video I'm doing by request. So I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the requests you might make for content for future videos. It's very helpful to me, and certainly going to do my best to accommodate any other requests. This one is actually a part 2 video. I began, better part of, early last year, I think, this idea of utilizing materials that were on hand and making a small shop, small parts storage solution. So what I've done here today, well, I'll tell you what, let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what I've done here so far. Let me see if I can get this oriented so that sunlight isn't a problem here. Okay, so one of the little milestones we've hit with this little storage project is I get to use my new crosscut sled for the first time. It works great. Everything worked as planned. The fences and all worked nice, keeping the material nice and square to the blade. So let's look at what I've made so far. I've made the sides to the units. So what you see here are the two sides to the little wall-mounted storage cabinet I'm going to make. And if you look closely, you'll see that a few of the dados are a little bit differently sized. See, so here, this is just shy of 3/4 of an inch wide dado, whereas the rest of these are 1/2 inch. About midway, I have another one that's just shy of 3/4 of an inch, a number of more 1/2 inches, and then again, one just shy of 3/4. The intent behind that is I'm going to have a, it's going to be a box. So there will be a 3/4 inch piece of plywood forming the bottom of the box, the top, and then also one mid-span to prevent any bulging, because it'll be critical that the sides of this cabinet box stay uniform for the sake of the design. You'll see what I mean here in a few minutes. Okay, here we see both sides of the cabinet with all the dados all hogged out and cleaned up and ready to go. Now we'll just make the top, the bottom, and the middle stretcher, and then we'll put a backer on the top of the cabinet as a means of providing for hanging it on a wall. So in a few minutes, you'll see where we stand with that. Stick with me. Okay, so these are all ready to go, and I have cut my top, bottom, and stretchers. You'll notice they are not the same width as the sides. Partly because I'm using leftover materials, and partly because they really don't need to be, because all they're doing is forming a frame for the front of the box. What this will do is it will leave me room at the back of the box to run some pieces vertically like this, and that will be what I use to mount the box to the wall. So, you know, would it be better and more visually aesthetically pleasing to have these be full width? Sure, why not? But again, this is very utilitarian, and the intent behind this is to show inexpensive ways of using leftover materials to solve small shop storage challenges. So here we go. Take a look at how it works with our little plastic bins. Okay, so standard lunch meat reusable plastic bins. These are sized just appropriately enough so that there's a little bit of wiggle in there, but there's plenty of bearing. So these can be full of all kinds of little fasteners, bits and parts, and they're all easy to use. Slide nice and easily in and out. So there we have it. And what we'll do, like I say, is we'll put some stretchers on it and hang it on the wall. You can see the finished product. So do you notice anything different? Oh, I know I do. Here's the thing. I like the idea, and I think it's going to work out great. The problem I ran into that I didn't really think too much about earlier, I built my workbenches a little bit deeper than standard, so reaching the wall over the top of my workbench becomes kind of a challenge. So instead of having full height, which would have made it difficult for me to reach the top bins, I simply cut the unit in half, added another stretcher to replace one of the, in fact you can even see where I just simply dadoed a piece of 3/4 plywood to fit into one of the 1/2-inch notches. So I now have two side-by-side units instead of one long unit. And the way I chose to mount this to the wall is I'm going to use my version of a French cleat. So I've cut notches out of the back of these boxes, and you'll notice the bottom is a square cut. The top, I chose a 22.5-degree angle. I could have gone up to a 45, but I didn't feel like that was necessary. I think the 22.5 will be more than enough to pull the thing against the wall. So here I've mounted a 32-inch long French cleat. Works perfectly between a 4-way gang box and my panel, my power distribution panel. So let me hang them on the wall and see how they look. Okay, there we have it. Two identical units, which we can move laterally along the wall here, spreading them out for whatever reason, or perhaps even adding more later, or even a different width unit to fulfill a different purpose. So I like the whole idea behind the French cleat, and I'm very happy with how this come out. Now let me put some bins in it. I guess I've got a couple more bins to get. Anyways, success. Open cavity up there, well, I can just lay some stuff on top of those top bins if I want to, or I can just look at that empty space. Either way, I'm happy. And there's even a nice little shelf up top here for other miscellaneous stuff. So stick with me as I tackle my next project here at the UptaCraft shop. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and leave me a comment if you would. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you think of what I'm doing. Give me some ideas on what you'd like to see for future content.